Okay, so no idea how long it'll take me to get the thoughts out of my head for this ramble, but I know I only have 42 minutes on the camera's memory left, so it's going to be less than that, or you're going to be left with an incomplete thought. So I made a comment on a Bible thumping wingnut video. Yes, I know, my mistake. But basically, he was putting up some content from some ministry that I hope he had permission from. But just throwing it out there for us. This Mr. Washer who said, if a God simply pardons the wicked, then he is no longer just. And then he continues on about how he does just that through the redemption and crucifixion story. So the loophole that makes God just for forgiving us of all of our sins that we deserve, death for. The loophole is that we take an innocent guy, purportedly somebody who is completely innocent of all sins whatsoever, right? And we put the guilt for all people's sins and crimes against anything onto this guy, right? And so then we kill him. And it's my stance that is not justice, to have one innocent person pay for the crimes or sins of a bunch of other people. There have been very good videos, some of them cartoons. There have been very good videos done by other YouTubers on this. Prof MTH made a good one, like 2 years ago. Dark Matter 2525 has a cartoon about it, but I believe Non-Stamp Collector has another cartoon about it. And this is one of those things where when Christians that are on YouTube and part of our great debate community hear that we went and saw this video by this other YouTuber who's bigger, or we looked it up on skepticsannotatedbible.com and we got they're like, oh wait, stop, I know what the problem is. You went to the wrong source and then got misled, and let me tell you about how it really is. Well, in my my comment to Bible Thumping Wingnut, I said, by killing an innocent man for the transgressions of others as a scapegoat, is this how this loophole that redeems us is achieved? And this is what Bible Thumping Wingnut took offense to. He says, just because I don't like the plan doesn't make it unjust. God's way is not scapegoating. Now, first of all, there's the whole fallacy of I don't like God's plan, because of course I want to continue on sinning and being an evil person as this evil atheist that I am. So of course anything about God's plan I don't want to hear about, right? It's not about me not liking it that makes it unjust. Okay? That's not where the source of it being unjust comes from, me not liking it. No. When you see a punishment meted out upon somebody who does not deserve it, rather than the people who do, that is not justice. Okay? It's not that I don't like it. It's not that I like it. It's when you see someone commit a crime and someone else pay the price for it, that's not justice. And then he says God's way is not scapegoating, and he sent me a video that he made to My Context and Redline about 6 months ago, and I watched it because I'm a glutton for punishment. It's an hour and 2 minutes long, but I found the best part at around 4:20. Not because I'm from Colorado, but it just happened to be there.
Before this description right here that I found, I won't even do that. I'm just going to read it. On the Day of Atonement, a live goat was chosen by lot. Okay, when it says by lot, that means God chose it because they cast lots for it. And God is sovereign over all things. And that's the key here for salvation. God is sovereign over all things. It's less about man and it's more about God's sovereignty. And because it's God's sovereignty, it takes scapegoating completely out of.
Okay. So they cast lots. They basically rolled some dice, rolled some bones, and they couldn't figure out which goat God wanted without doing something completely random where nobody else could touch it. Like, if they used a Ouija board to contact God, then they might be like calling across the table, "Hey, you pushed with your finger to get it closer to my goat than your goat," So they had to use something completely random, right? Because back then God didn't have a cell phone like he does now, calling people up and telling them which goat to kill, right? So this is how they determined that it must be God speaking. Random number generation. Random selection. Do you not see a problem with this? What happens if you pick up a dice or bones or spin a bottle, or what happens if you do it again and again and again and again? Are you only supposed to use it the first time? Is it like the magic 8 ball? You shake it and you get like outlook not so good, and you don't like that answer, so you're not supposed to shake it up again. There's a rule on the box for a magic 8 ball that says if you do look for an answer to the same question more than once, then you're like cursed or something. It's on there. If you randomly just keep throwing bones and casting lots and rolling dice, you will come up with every answer. You can do it until you get the answer that you want. But to pretend that just a random selection generating thing means that is God telling you, because we can't possibly know what would be the outcome, except for we can tell that over time every outcome is just as likely. It just matters, on, as long as you don't have weighted dice, but it matters how many times you roll it. You're going to come up with, about the same number of each answer. So basically, they created a method whereby any answer that they got, they could attribute to God and feel good about it. Because they were dumb. They were really, really dumb. Way back in the day. Does anyone who has any sense about them leave major life decisions like, which goat is the one that will cure me of sins, or, should I wear a condom or not? Does anybody leave that up to a coin toss? God, please tell me. Now, why is it that, I don't use this condom and I get clapagonorrhea herpes? God, you said you had my back. No. Ah. Urgh. So, what it boils down to is, when God takes the punishment that should be meted out against the people who did the transgressions and he puts it onto someone else, that's not scapegoating because God magic. Because my hands are quicker than your eyes. No, you don't have a good reason for telling anyone that this taking the blame for these transgressions and placing the guilt onto something else and killing it is good. You don't have any reason for that. Like, seriously, I'm gonna calm down now. My understanding of scapegoating from the Bible, not this, scapegoating's evolved to have other connotations, so you can't use that word. No, my understanding of scapegoating from the Bible, it might be a little bit different from yours because my family passed down a different non-evangelical fundamentalist approach to reading the Bible. And scapegoating is very much like when lambs were killed and their blood was spread over, it's killing anything, okay? Killing anything for the purpose of it being a sacrifice to let you off the hook and show God that you really meant it, that, you're sorry. Here's this offering. It's very rooted in, the Old Testament. And when you see Jesus get sacrificed on that cross, it is as the, let's say, ultimate lamb. He gets slaughtered so that nobody else has to use a lamb or a goat or anything else ever again. That's the narrative of the Bible. Okay? Thousands and thousands of years of people killing the fuck out of shit and then spreading blood everywhere in a very barbaric fashion gets ended by a very barbaric death scene. And then we're supposed to take that and go, hey, let's all be better people and just use that as the end of the barbarism. But of course, after thousands of years of the tradition of barbarism, we can't, kick the habit right away. So we start killing in the name of that God a lot, for another few thousand years, and really still it hasn't ended that whole trend. But it was supposed to, okay? At least, from a non-American evangelical fundamentalist point of view, from my point of view, reading the Torah and on to the New Testament, it really does look like Jesus is the sacrificial lamb to end all sacrifices, so that you don't have to do it anymore. So, when you say that God, using Jesus, weighted down with the guilt of everybody else's crimes and sins, when you say that God using Jesus to kill him for everyone else isn't scapegoating, it isn't. I'm like, do you know that this God that you worship was requiring scapegoating? He was requiring lambs to be killed, right? And then one day he decides, okay, we're going to do one big one, the grand finale, the biggest lamb of them all, right? That's why in many churches they sing about washing themselves in the blood of the lamb, which is icky disgusting, okay? I don't want anyone to ever offer me a blood filled bathtub to scrub myself clean. No, ew, okay? That's not how you get clean. You know, we're smarter now after a couple thousands of years. You know, we know that that shit has germs in it, okay? I don't even think that in Louisiana you can make real boudin with, you know, blood sausage and shit because we know there's bloodborne pathogens because shit's dirty. You don't wash yourself in dirty shit. But back then, they thought that was a great way to do things because they were, you know, in fear of God. So, what is your understanding of the purpose of Jesus, if not to take the blame and responsibility and all that, take the weight of all that crime and sin in the world, and then be the one that has all of that in one human vessel and then get killed for it? What do you think his purpose is? If not to be the vessel that carries out, you know, the role of the victim in God's great injustice of not paying everyone the wages of sin, which are death. If there's any part of what I said here that you feel is double talk compared to, say, you saying that Jesus dying on the cross has nothing to do with scapegoating and you know, don't pay attention to the traditional way that God used to wash you of your sins and with sacrifices and all that. Just pay attention to, oh well, new connotations make the you using that word invalid. Don't think about that. Just pray to Jesus and you'll be saved. That's basically what you do. You know, you're obfuscating and really lying. You know, you're trying to pull a shell game on people like, oh, don't look at it, look at this, look, just you know, accept. No, it doesn't work that way. You can't lie people into believing your shit. Ah. Urgh. So, again, people, maybe we should all, instead of getting into our little cabals and groups, maybe we should all have a Bible 101 class. You know, we should start with what are the major fucking themes of the fucking Bible. Okay? Now, I like to take from it that the major fucking theme, the principal thing that you're supposed to learn from the Bible, is forgiveness and redemption. Right? And if you don't know the mechanism that brought all that about, and how it came after a tradition, and how it looks like the tradition that it came from, then what are you spending your time doing? Okay? You really have to jump back and forth in a Bible all the time to cherry pick out all this goodness from the Bible and not really connect that narrative of God requires sacrifices, and then stops with one big one. yeah, that's about it. Um, I'll finish this Mountain Dew and go to bed and be done with this. Goose Fraba.